Good afternoon, everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. In this video, we're going to do a drain and fill on the gear oil in the manual transmission of my 1995 Mazda Miata MX-5 NA generation. Without further ado, let's get started. As I said in the intro, this is for the manual, not automatic, manual transmission in a 1995 Mazda Miata MX-5 NA generation. It may also apply to the manual transmissions of the NBs. So I know the NA and the NBs, there's not a ton of difference once you go from like the 1.6 to the 1.8 motor. But I don't own one of those, so couldn't tell you. Anyway, let's get down below and take a look at the business stuff. All right, filming is going to be a little wonky because I only have this thing up on ramps. I don't have a lot of room down here. But this is the side of the transmission. This is a square-shaped fill bolt, and you always, I already loosened this up, but you always want to pull your fill first and make sure you can get that out before you hit the drain. So that way, if you can't get the fill loose, I mean, at least you still have whatever fluid you've got and you can keep your vehicle moving, right? But if you drain it before you know you can fill it, well, you're stuck wherever you are. You know, you're done. So anyway, I used a adjustable crescent wrench to get this loose because it is square shaped. And then our drain is back here. This is a 24 millimeter, and I already got this guy loose as well. And I got my pan ready. So let's see how much of a mess I get to make. There it goes. That looks pretty nasty. I don't think this has been done in a hot minute. That rushing sound you hear is transmission. Because you're going to want to loosen the fill so that this will drain okay. Actually, that might be decent. I say that, but look at that. Nobody's cleaned this magnet in a while. So we'll clean the magnet. And then we'll cap this back up. And then we'll get on the fill part of things. And we got to talk about the oil we're going to use. All right, we need to talk about gear oil real quick. So, the oil we need, the grade is 7590, which that's not too hard to find. But here's the tricky part. We need it in GL4. That is a standard for automotive oils, and it's really easy to find 7590 in GL5, which is great for differentials and things like that. But for the synchronizer gears in our transmission, GL5 will destroy them. We need GL4. And it's kind of hard these days to find 7590 GL4. But I was able to find this, which this is the fancy stuff. I'm sure you can find something else cheaper. This is what I could find in a relatively short period of time. Redline MT90. If you see MT90 on the bottle, it absolutely is 75W90 oil that is GL4 compliant. This will work for the transmission. Transmission's supposed to hold, I think, 2 quarts and change, so you'll need 3 bottles. So that should be enough. So we'll go ahead and we're going to put our drain plug back in. There is a magnet, and you're going to want to clean all the shmoo off your magnet and actually look at the shmoo. If you see a fine powder, that's not so bad. If you see chunks, like actual metal chunks you can roll around in your hand, that's not so good. That means something is eating itself in the transmission. Probably have to dig deeper, but it is normal to have this fine powder, particularly if nobody has serviced the gear oil or the transmission anytime recently. There's supposed to be a crush washer that goes on this plug. Mine is long gone. I bought these. They're supposed to be correct, but when I look at the size, it's not so great. I will try it out, because one thing I noticed sticking my finger, you can take your pinky and kind of hook it in your fill port and wiggle it around. And if your pinky comes up wet with oil, then it was relatively full, but whenever I did it before I drained it, my pinky was stayed dry. So the transmission was down on fluid. I don't know exactly how much, but it was an appreciable amount. May have been leaking slowly through here. So, anywho's, one other thing to keep in mind when we go to prepare to fill is, at least in my case, I have the vehicle on an incline, right? Because we're sitting on ramps. That means the fluid is going to get rocked back a little bit, which means that you may accidentally overfill it slightly, right? Because the fluid's piled up in the back, you're not level. So something else to keep in mind, you may want to fill until you can get to your right below the fill point. Take your finger, stick it in there, check it. Anyway, that's what we're going to do there. Let me show you my fill tool. Okay, that's just a simple hand pump. You can pick this thing up just about any auto parts store. They are terrible to work with. They are an enormous pain in the butt, but they do work. So make sure, if you already have one of these, that you've purged any old oil out of it, which I just had to do, and you're loaded up with fresh. And then just, you got to get in there and do it. It's terrible, it's awful, but I have yet to find a good electric transfer pump that's rated for these heavy, thick fluids. So if anybody knows one, let me know, because I'd really love to stop having to pump this by hand, because it takes forever. All right, so as you're filling this and wishing you had a better tool, hopefully you have something better than me, you'll know you have it when you have fluid begin to dribble out of your fill port. Once you hit that, you're done. Go ahead and cap it off, because if you keep pumping, all you're going to do is dribble out more and ultimately overfill it. All right, so you've drained all the old stuff out, you put the new stuff in, you capped everything off, you plugged everything. This, I don't think, matters as much with a manual, but put the clutch down, you know. Or you don't even have to get the clutch down, honestly. But run it through your gears, make sure everything feels okay, and that you can get in all your gears. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reverse. Right. Everything feels good. Sounds okay. And it may be a little sticky if you don't have the clutch in, but yeah. Feels pretty good. So with that, you are done with the drain and fill of your manual transmission. And as long as you plugged everything up right and you filled it until it was starting to pee out fluid, you should be good. Good maintenance. All right, that's going to do it for this video where we did a drain and fill of our manual transmission on a 95 Mazda Miata MX-5 NA. Hopefully this helped somebody out. Like, share, and subscribe if it did. I'll catch you guys next episode.